It was time to visit the famous village of Grindelwald in Switzerland, or rather the surrounding mountains. I decided to climb Wetterhorn, one of the 3 peaks that make up the Wetterhorner Massif. I have already conquered the other 2, Rosenhorn and Mitterhorn. You will find the links to the videos of these climbs in the description. To get to the top there are 2 options, either go through the Rosenlaui Glacier or by the normal route which starts next to Grindelwald. I read on the internet that to get to Grindelwald you have to take the train or the bus, so I didn't know how long the trip would take. I arrived safely at the car park in front of the hotel restaurant Wetterhorn, where I parked my car. Parking was 11 euros a day. To be able to climb Wetterhorn you have to go through the Gleckstein Hood, but as usual I can't find any indication. So I take the road east as indicated on my GPS. I pass an abandoned cable car cabin. As I will discover later, this was the first mountain cable car in the world for passenger transport. The first section was operational in 1908. It led from the lower station, now Wetterhorn Square Hotel, to the Engi station, which is hanging on the edge of the mountain. Initially it was planned that this cable car would reach the Wetterhorn summit at 3,791 meters above sea level. But World War I stopped these plans and led to the dismantling of the facility. The route to Gleckstein Hood seems impressive. Indeed, the walls which rise up on the site are vertiginous. One would think them impassable. As always, I see my friends, the Swiss cars, with their melodious bells. For the first time I see the Eiger so closely. This majestic mountain rises like a curtain in front of Grindelwald, as if it wanted to protect the village from avalanches.
Le chemin monte. Je suis sorti de la petite forêt. Bientôt on va tourner à droite pour prendre voilà, le chemin par là-bas pour atteindre le refuge.
After crossing a small forest, I come to an intersection where I have to take the path named Steinbock-Ispad, which means on the Capricorn's path, on the mountain side on the right. It leads to Engi, above the remains of the upper station of the Wetterhorn lift. In Switzerland, post buses are considered icons of the public service. One of the characteristic elements of post buses is their famous three-tone horn, picking up the opening notes of the opera William Tell by Rossini. People prone to vertigo should think twice before committing.
Le chemin il est bien équipé.
As you can see, the trail is well secured with cables.
Ne représente pas le danger.
I finally arrive above the top station of the Wetterhorn lift. Now the trail descends slightly. I pass over the bed left by the upper Grindelwald glacier. As always, global warming is clearly visible. At this altitude, 1500 meters, there is no more ice. Look at the 2010 photo. In just 10 years we can clearly see the retreats of the glacier. The comparison with the photo taken around 1900 leaves no doubt. Today the ice has been replaced by the magnificent waterfalls. Although it's already September, on a Friday, there are still many tourists who want to admire sublime landscape that unfolds from Gleckstein Hut. I also came across quite a few trail runners who have the summit of Grinnenhorn, 2737 meters in their sights. I was quite surprised by their number. I carry on along the path which continues to climb. I see a waterfall which is not like the others. The water disappears in the air, it turns into small droplets and then suddenly reappears at ground level. Now I see the upper part of the glacier. The view is heavenly. The path seems to be cut in the rock. I walk on the edge of an abyss. I take like steps carved in stone. In background we see Grindelwald and opposite stands the summit of Riti. After over 3 hours of leisurely hiking, I arrive at the Gleckstein Hut. I now understand why many people want to come here. The view is simply breathtaking. On one side the glacier is crowned by Schreckhorn, 4078 meters. On the other side Wetterhorn. On the opposite side the village of Grindelwald. I don't stop, I leave the hut and continue on a less traveled path, reserved for experienced hikers. Once again there are no signs for my destination. I follow the white-blue-white markup. The direction matches my GPS route. The view is truly magnificent. Finally, I see an indication for my destination, Wetterhorn. A little further there is another panel, a little damaged, so illegible. On the way back I realized that this was the place to turn right. I decide to sit down to take some shots with my drone. I come to a small ridge. The path turns left towards Grinnenhorn. I go a few meters, wrong direction for me. I see as an old unmarked path on the right. I take it. Its direction corresponds to that of Wetterhorn. Now I have to follow the small stone pyramids. I meander between small streams, looking for a place for the night, but it must be a quiet place. I still remember my sleepless night next to a waterfall on my ascent of Laginhorn. I want to avoid repeating this experience at all costs.
There you go.
That's it. I'm at the foot of the glacier. It's time to change my shoes and put on crampons. For several years now, I have been using approach shoes to access snowy areas or areas requiring a bit of climbing. I sweat too much in mountaineering boots, and on simple trails they hurt my feet and always give me blisters. So instead I prefer to carry them on my back. It's only in winter that I use them from the beginning. For simple glacier hikes, no technical ones, I always use Petzl aluminum crampons. I save some weight, but be careful, they are not suitable on hard ice and steep terrain. The glacier is very small. The crevasses start and there is one huge one that turns into a cave. I just spotted a flat area of snow at the end of the glacier where I could possibly pitch my tent, but for the moment I want to continue. If I manage to pass the glacier, then I will try to find a camp for the night a bit higher. On a glacier the path is changeable. There are no beacons or stone pyramids, so I try to follow the route of my GPS. It leads me towards the lower part of the glacier, and just before the wall there is a deep crevasse which prevents access to the mountain. I must find another way. I zigzag between crevasses, but I can't find a way. I have to retrace my steps. I want to take some pictures, and this is where one of my poles falls into the crevasse. Since I have already lost 2 pairs of sticks, I don't want to order the next one. I decide to go down into the crevasse to retrieve it. The rescue action ends well, but it knocks my confidence a bit. I was not very well equipped for this type of operation. I have just found an almost ideal location for the bivouac. It is shielded from the sounds of waterfalls and is almost flat. Looking at the glacier, I see that there is a passage higher up to continue the road to the top, but that will be for tomorrow. The view is beautiful. Eiger, Grindelwald Valley, Wetterhorn. It's time to capture some images with my drone. Here I am, installed for the night. After a little coffee, it's time for delicious food from Decathlon, chicken curry. It's a little tasteless, but hey, we can't be fussy. Clouds roll in and start to cover the summit. When I prepare my freeze-dried meal, I always add a little more water to keep myself hydrated. This is why I get to drink my chicken curry. It is never easy to manage your water reserve when you are on your own and in unfamiliar territory. We try to avoid carrying too many pounds, but one is never sure to be able to refuel. I took some water from the glacier. It's okay, it's pretty transparent. I love those serene moments when you are sitting in a beautiful place and taking the time to admire the mountains and nature. I'm lucky tonight. The weather conditions are perfect. The spectacle is amazing. The visual perception of the landscape changes with the course of the sun and the movements of the clouds, giving an incredible impression of the tranquility and freedom. It's time to rest. The tent is tilted a bit, which causes a slight slip, but at least I can't hear the sound of the waterfalls too much. So good night. I didn't think there would be many mountaineers this morning, as the weather forecast wasn't very encouraging. But suddenly I was woken up by the headlamps of the mountaineers on their way up to Wetterhorn summit. I quickly get my things ready, grab some coffee, and off I go. I quickly hike the glacier and again come to the rocky terrain. I take off my crampons and chase people in front of me. The trail climbs quickly but doesn't present any difficulties at the moment. I'm too hot, I have to take off my Gore-Tex clothes and harness. I'm wasting a lot of time. When I'm ready to leave, I no longer see the couple in front of me. I move forward randomly. From time to time I see small rock pyramids, but sometimes they are on the left as well as on the right. You have to choose well. I'm now on a bad path. I have to reach the arete, but the terrain is very steep and slippery, full of small stones. After a good few minutes, I find the path, but my confidence and my motivation are damaged. I can hardly see myself climbing the mountain solo, not knowing exactly the difficulties that I would have to face.
Bon, je pense que je vais m'arrêter ici là parce que là, je pense que ça devient un peu trop difficile pour une personne toute seule.
But above all, what scares me the most is the descent. I decide to turn back. The summit will still be there for the next time. Approximately 20 meters below, I see a rope anchor. I try to reach it and intend to use my rope to abseil. It has been several years since I last abseiled. Good training. Finally, I can see the correct pathway, and if I had seen it on the way up, maybe I would be continuing my ascent. But hey, you can't remake the world with ifs. I'm still very happy with my performance. I arrive at my tent, make a coffee, pack everything, and begin my descent. At the same time I saw two climbers already coming down from the summit. I decided to join them. They confirmed that the ridge on which I stopped was equipped with anchors. I would know for the next time. We meet some ibex, which are wild mountain goats. We quickly arrive at Gleckstein Hut. It's time for a well-deserved beer. The weather is deteriorating quickly. It's starting to rain. You have to be very careful with the wet and very slippery ground. We arrive at the parking slightly wet, just in time as the rain is getting harder. Voila, another adventure that ends here, but the memories remain. A beautiful place. I will be back to achieve what I started.
Thank you for watching. We hope you've enjoyed the video.